Today's podcast is brought to you by Star Local Media, 14 newspapers and websites with a print distribution of 270,000 homes and monthly page views of 600,000 online. Star Local Media, your community voice for news. Welcome to another edition of the Star Local Media Sports Podcast. My name is Matt Welch. I'm the sports editor here at Star Local Media, and I am being joined by Taylor Ragland, who does sports for Plano, Allen, and Lake Cities, as well as Justin Thomas, who is the sports editor for our Denton County papers. And gentlemen, we are here to talk softball. So the high school softball season has just passed the midway point. We're starting to get a little bit more clarity as far as district title races, playoff races are concerned. So we're just going to use this this forum to kind of update y'all on just how a few of our districts are faring just past the midpoint. With Taylor and JT here, a lot of the discussion is going to focus on 5-6A, 6-6A, as well as 14-5A. And I guess we can just kind of start in order there, JT, with 5-6A. And we talked about things kind of clarifying a little bit, but it seems like in recent days the races in 5-6A have just gotten a little bit more convoluted. I'm looking over the standings right now, and I've got it Flower Mound's in first place, just doing the usual Lady Jaguar thing at 8-0.
Can I stop you right there?
Sure.
I want to mention Coppell at some point, so let's just get 9-6A out of the way.
Go for it, man. Say what you got to say on Coppell.
Let's just say Coppell they went undefeated last year. They outscored their district opponents 199-8, and they're 6-0 in first place so far, and they have a scoring margin of 86-2. So we'll just wanted to mention. Good job, Coppell.
Did you say 199?
Last year was 199.
199?
So far in 6 games this year, it's 86.
Do you think they're bummed they didn't hit the 200-run plateau? Think they're concerned about that?
They tried to push one of those 3-inning games into a 4-inning game so they could get 16 instead of 15, but they were too good. They only got 3 innings. No, but good job, Coppell. Looks like they're going to win 9-6A again and be the #1 seed. So hopefully they can try to get past the second round this year.
So
anyway,
as we then look back at 5-6A right now, Flower Mound is in first place. They're 8-0.
Right.
South Lake Carroll second place, 6-2, and then you've got a 3-way tie between LD Bell, Byron Nelson, and Marcus at 4-4. And
it's actually Hebron.
Hebron, my bad. And then they're actually one game up on a 2-way tie for 6th place between Marcus and Lewisville. So obviously, still way too much to be decided. At least, obviously, Flower Mound feels like they're in a pretty good spot as far as
Flower
getting back to the.
Looking pretty good. They're 4 games up on third.
Third.
So they're in pretty good position.
But as far as just the rest of this, kind of how do you size up just this log jam?
It's real tough to figure out because obviously it's a big log jam, and then if you look at scores and results, you have a team like Hebron getting beat by double figures, then coming back taking Flower Mound to extra innings, then coming back getting beat, then I don't know. It's just really tough to figure out. Lewisville starts off 2-0. Take it to a couple. Had a pretty solid win over Marcus. Then they drop 5 in a row. Marcus wins a game 17-4, then comes back and gets. It's just really tough to figure out, and everybody's beating each other. So, but I guess that makes for entertaining stretch here. And then I guess another thing of interest, just kind of locally, individually, a couple big power hitters having good seasons in 5-6A. You have Megan Lesko for Flower Mound. She has 8 homers. She had a streak of 3 straight district games with a homer, and in that streak she hit the walk-off blast to beat Hebron in extra innings, so that was pretty cool. And then Lexi Benson for Marcus, she's a Stephen F. Austin commit, and she has 9 homers, which is tied for the lead in the area with another player that we'll be getting around to later here.
So is the, you expect with this district that it should just kind of be Lewisville ISD's kind of owned this district in recent years?
I think, every outside of, I guess Flower Mound and Marcus haven't made the state tournament, but Hebron and Lewisville have each made state tournaments within the past 5 or 6 years, and then Marcus and Flower Mound are pretty good. Last year, the Lewisville schools swept all 4 playoff spots. So they've been so traditionally strong, you would just kind of expect that, especially against some of these other teams. But I guess LD Bell's really picked it up this year. They have a good pitcher from what I hear. And, Carroll's a pretty good team, but they've never been in a district like with the Lewisville schools or the Plato schools. So it's been tougher to kind of gauge, how good they are. But after not making it this year, they seem to have a pretty good squad this year as well. So really, really deep and strong district. But I'm also not sure how many of these teams are primed for deep playoff runs possibly though. So especially with 6A, which we'll get to here coming up.
Yeah, it's probably a good transition point then, because yes, once the playoffs do begin, it'll be 5-6A against whoever the top 4 are from 6A. I mean, last time we were talking softball, Taylor, we had a 4-way tie for first place in 6A between Plano, Geyer, Wiley, and Plano East. And as you'd expect, you know, a couple weeks later, that's kind of, it started to sort itself out. You know, there's still,
a little bit.
There's still a lot of gray area. I mean, we should at least, just for an update on the standings, you have Plano, who's in first place. They're the only team remaining from that 4-way logjam who is atop the district. They have a 7-1 district record. Wiley and Geyer are tied for second at 6-2, and then you've got a tie for fourth place between Allen and Plano East.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I guess we can start with Plano, since they're the you know, they've survived this you know, just at least midway through, they've been the you know, the lone survivor of this gauntlet, and they're, you know, at least in pole position for that top spot. You know, they were able to, I mean, they had a hiccup, you know, midway through district against Wiley, but since then they've rattled off 4 straight. They're back to there. I mean, I'm not sure there is a team in this district that has a higher ceiling offensively than this Plano team.
No, I don't think so.
During that 4-game winning streak, they've averaged right around 10 runs a game, including, as you saw last Tuesday, when they hung 16 on Plano East.
Oh my gosh. To be fair, though, East also put 12 up. The wind was blowing out a little bit that night, so it was kind of a slugfest. I think East hit 5 and Plano hit 3, if I remember right, of 8 home runs. So, but yeah, Plano's offense, just overall, outside of, you know, the long ball, look good too. I mean, they're deep and they're pretty for real, 1 through 9.
The added element of the long ball with this team, like, I don't know if it's just my memory playing tricks on me, but I can't recall them being this potent as far as the home run ball, you know, was last season. I was just looking, and just over their past 3 games, they have 5 home runs, and it sounds like they're getting, you know, those big hits from, you know, each third of the order.
Oh yeah, well, they're up and down too, because I don't think I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I don't think Bronte Roden hit one when I was watching them, but then I was looking up scores from, you know, the last couple of games, and I think she hit at least 1. So it's literally, you know, 1 through 9. If you're throwing to somebody in maroon, there's a chance that, you know, it's going out, and that's not something that a lot of teams can say. I think Geyer may be next closest in the district as far as just offensive behemoth, but Plano is certainly, I think, the deepest offense for sure.
And as far as just, you know, tiebreakers, you know, looking down the road, you know, once we do get, you know, into the home stretch of the season, you know, Plano was able to pick up a massive win last week against Denton Geyer. Those two were tied for first place at the time, and then Plano.
They beat Geyer. So I mean, you look at the top 3 and even the top 4 or 5. I mean, they're beating the teams that they need to beat to finish in first place. Because I think one of the biggest surprises has been East's mediocrity, I guess, is the best word for it, and they're not beating the teams that are up there with them. They're beating the, you know, the Boyds and the teams like that, or you know, the teams that maybe they should, or kind of on the bubble, but you know, they've been beaten by Geyer, they've been beaten by Plano, they've been beaten by, you know, teams that are up there and contending, and I think that's where Plano's really been strong. They, you know, they go out there and they say, okay, we're going to match up with East, or we're going to match up with Geyer, and you know, they show up and they take care of it, and I think that's why they're the lone team at the top now, and I think that's why they're 7-1 and look to be poised to stay up there. All
eyes are now going to be on this, you know, next Tuesday, you know, 7 o'clock at Wiley in a rematch between the Lady Wildcats and the Lady Pirates. Wiley's been the only team that has figured out the anecdote to slow down this, you know, this Plano offense. Although, with all due respect, McKinney Boyd did only give up 4 runs against Plano. So there are teams that have been able to lay that blueprint, but it was Wiley that has, you know, that did give, you know, Plano its only district loss, 9-3. All eyes are going to be on that rematch next week. But yeah, I mean, Plano's margin for error is still, you know, I mean, they've got the season sweep over Geyer. That'll obviously be massive for tiebreaker purposes, but they just have a 1-game lead right now on Geyer and Wiley for second place. This race for fourth place, as you just mentioned, Plano East, if the playoffs began today, East wouldn't get in, and that's, I mean, considering that they were at least, you know, our pick to win the district when we did our preseason predictions and whatnot. And now, if the postseason began today, it would in fact be Allen snapping a lengthy playoff drought and getting in on that last spot in 6A. You know, Allen, they're 4-4, as is Plano East. Obviously, then you would say that the tiebreaker is currently in Allen's favor because they defeated East 9-5, you know, recently. And that was, if you're just looking at what's kind of worked in Allen's favor to help kind of buoy, you know, bolster their playoff chances. I mean, their top 5 was just lights out against East. Their top 5: Dalen Inkman, Maya Eldred, Peyton Carmichael, Brittany Coe, and Kelsey Delap. And that win against East, they combined for 10 hits and 7 RBIs. And I mean, yeah, it's just now, you know, it's you just got to kind of keep East at arm's length now. You've got the one win in your back pocket, and the rematch is going to be April 17th between those two. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Allen, you just got to stay within arm's length of that East team and give yourself a fighting chance heading into that rematch. And if you can beat East a second time, then, I mean, that could very well be, that playoff spot could very well be yours.
And I think the thing with East this season, the funny thing, I think what's been the most surprising is that they're beating themselves. Like, East is rolling out there, and like we mentioned, the 16-12 game. Like, you would think 12 runs would probably be enough to win a lot of softball games, but I think they had 6 errors that game, something like that, something just abysmal. They are shooting themselves in the foot and wasting, an offense that has Carson Armillo, Ronnie Ramos is good. They have a lot of Gabby Lopez contributed a home run. Like, they have a lot of offensive talent, and they're going to score their share of runs. And I think head coach Cindy Mostow even said that when I talked to her after that game. She said something to the effect of, she phrased it in a polite way, but it was basically, our defense is letting our offense down in basically every way you can think of, because they're going to go out, they're going to score runs, they're going to get decent, if not, above average pitching performances every game with Lopez and Armijo especially, but then you can't make 6 errors. Like, you just can't. You can't win softball games, especially against teams like Plano, Geyer, even Allen. I mean, teams in 6-6A will beat you if you're willing to beat yourself. Like, if you're willing to just run out there and not play defense, then it's tough to beat anybody in this district, even, the Boyds and the teams at the bottom who can also, come up and surprise you for a win, especially if you have that kind of night in the field. So I think for East, and that's what Coach Mosteller even said, she's like, we're going to have to, figure it out on defense, or they're in serious jeopardy of not even getting in the postseason, which would be a shocker for sure.
Before we transition then to 14-5A, just a quick note. The Plano East and Allen are 4-4, and they're tied for 4th place in the district. They're just 1 game up on McKinney Boyd. McKinney Boyd has been, as Kendrick Johnson, our McKinney sports editor, alluded to last time we were talking softball, McKinney Boyd is much improved this season. A lot of it centers around the rise of their freshman pitcher, Kinsey Cackley, and they actually just did score a 3-2 walk-off win against Allen, and it was Cackley who was responsible for a 2-run single in the bottom of the 7th to lift the Lady Broncos to a huge victory and put them within striking distance of that last playoff spot as well. So plenty to be decided in 6-6A. So that's
Lady Broncos.
That's right. Boyd's been on it's been some lean years for McKinney Boyd recently, but they're definitely improved this season, and they're no longer looking like the the automatic victory that it might have seemed like last year. There's been some surprises
top to bottom in 6-6A. I think Wiley probably chief among all of them, because I don't think.
They made the playoffs last year. Exactly. Though. That's the thing. So it's not as surprising.
No, not as surprising as Boyd, but I think they're worth talking about for a second too, just because. I think all of us thought that they had something, but what Annie Gunther's come out and done on the mound, what their offense has done, and winning the games that they've won, especially, you said the 9-3, convincing win over Plano. So give Wiley credit too, because they weren't a team that was on our radar, I guess, or they were just there and they were a bubble team, but they look like they're a legitimate threat to maybe win the district. So I think 6-6A has been a district full of surprises, and definitely not least among them is Boyd and the turnaround. And like I said, they can beat anybody on any given night, especially if the other team doesn't show up or they pull what East has been pulling. So it's interesting, and it should be a good home stretch for sure. And
then over at 14-5, we talked about surprises, and I'd say, Justin, you can attest to this because you saw this game. It's a pretty big surprise at the top of the standings when you consider just the 2 teams that were expected to be vying for the district title. First place right now at the just past the midpoint, we got Prosper, undefeated at 8-0, 1 game up on the Colony, who's 7-1, and then you have Little Elm in 3rd place at 5-3, a tie for 4th place, I should say, between Creekview and McKinney North at 4-4. They're 2 games up on the 6th place tie between Lake Dallas and Newman Smith, and then R.L. Turner bringing up the rear. Obviously, we can focus this on Prosper versus the Colony, because that was certainly the biggest development of the first half was Prosper in a game that we talked a little bit about it when we were first talked about softball a couple weeks ago, but I don't think the expectation was that the Colony would be having to look up at somebody else at the top of the standings.
Prosper's out to a great start. Like you said, I saw that first game. It was a 9-5 victory for Prosper, but it was a pretty close game. Colony had the lead in the 6th inning, and then Prosper got hot and got 5 runs there to pull out the win in the 6th inning at home. But it was a pretty good game. I was definitely impressed with Prosper's bats. They seem to be a little stronger than they were last year. obviously the Colony has a strong pitcher in Iowa State pledge, Carly Charles.
Yeah.
She was the state championship game, state tournament MVP last season. But yeah, Prosper got after her pretty good, and it wasn't just, you know, drawing walks and getting base runners on. I mean, they were hitting homers, they were getting extra base hits, they were spreading the ball over the field. So I was definitely impressed with their bats. But then I guess the key has to be pitcher Rachel Eckroat for them.
Oh, it sounded like she just had a career night.
She had, I think, 16 strikeouts that game, maybe. So she was just mowing them down. There was definitely some complaining going on about the strike zone from coaches and fans alike. But
what else is new?
So every softball game we've ever covered, in other words.
But yeah, so she, regardless of the strike zone, she had 16 strikeouts. So even though she does pitch with the wristband. Not a wristband thing. But, yeah, they have like the wristband, so they like the dugout.
Oh yeah,
like, I guess there's
Plano does that too.
So many pitch combinations.
Yeah, Roden does that for.
Can't have a catcher give you signs.
Yeah, for Plano, I believe.
Which I don't know, just a pet peeve, I guess. But anyway. Yeah, she was dominant that game, though.
And against that offense too, which has got to be among the on the short list of some of the best offenses in the state.
And they just weren't able to get their power game going. They were able to get runners on and make things happen with their legs like they always do. But the Eckroat did a pretty good job of quieting the power bats in that lineup there. And they definitely have some. Madison Hirsch, she's tied for the lead in the area. She has the Kansas commit. She has 9 homers, 31 RBIs in 21 games. Texas Tech sophomore J.C. Hamlin, she actually leads the team. She has 33 RBIs and 12 steals. But then just another massive year for the MVP last year, Jayda Coleman. I guess you'll get to hear some of her here in a little bit. But 23 games, she's hitting 704. 704. She has 9 doubles.
At that point, how do you not just hit 1,000? Like, come on.
Yeah, 704.
Pick it up, Jayda. Come on.
9 doubles, 7 triples, 4 homers, 19 RBIs, and then the 2 ones that really pop out: 41 runs and 35 stolen bases in 23 games.
And she's only a sophomore.
She's only a sophomore, and if you get a chance to see her play, she's a rare left-handed shortstop, and she's a wizard with the glove in her arm as well. So she's super fun to watch if you get to see the Colony play. She just does it all out there.
So it does feel like, at least looking ahead, that the Prosper and the Colony who knows how the rematch will go. But it does feel like those two are going to be the top 2 seeds in the district.
Little Elm gave the Colony a pretty good game. I think it was 3-1 in the first round, and I think they play either this week or early next week. But yeah, the Prosper, the Colony rematch, which this one will be at the Colony, seems to be like this, Prosper outright district title, or if they're going to be co-champions and share it. And with how Prosper is doing in baseball, just to reiterate how the year's gone for Prosper, if they win this, they'll have won the district in every team sport.
Well.
Yeah, it's okay, 5A. They'll be up. I was going to say
they may be ready. I think they're ripe. I think they're ready to move on up.
They're ready to run with the horses up in 6A. So let's see then. I guess for the rest of 14-5A, you just mentioned Little Elm holding it down in 3rd place at 5-3. They're 2 games behind Prosper and the Colony, so it's probably going to be a little bit tough to crack that top 2. You do have in 4th place though Creekview and McKinney North tied at 4-4. Although I guess if you're going to look at those records as far as what is left for both teams,
Yeah, because North has already played. They played the Colony to start the second half on Friday and got beat 11-2 or 12-1 actually.
So yeah, the sooner you get your Prosper and the Colony rematches out of the way, then so yeah, I mean, even though North and Creekview are 2-2, it is worth noting that McKinney North does have the easier track.
Go ahead and pencil in that Creekview's not going to beat the Colony, then that would be technically a game back. But right now they're even, so. Give them their props.
Yeah, but it does feel like between those 5 that those 5 will comprise the 4 playoff spots in the district. We just mentioned Jayda Coleman though, who is again having a spectacular year as just a sophomore, and that is who the spotlight is for our fast forward rewind segment for this week. Kendrick Johnson was out and about, swung by the Colony to talk with Jayda Coleman on her spectacular season so far, and here's what Jayda had to say.
Kendrick Johnson with the Colony star softball player, one of the top recruits in the nation, Jayda Coleman. Jayda, welcome to the Fast Forward Rewind Spotlight this week. Give us some insight on all this tension. How do you handle all this attention that you get?
I really just try to stay calm and just play with my heart and just go inning by inning and just pitch by pitch.
Do you feel the pressure, the fact that people know you that you never met before, and they can coach your stats and know you're going to Oklahoma? Is that weird? I'm not going to call you a celebrity, but it's kind of like celebrity status. And are you even 16 yet?
Yeah, I just turned 16.
So you just turned 16 and you have all this in the pressure. There's a lot of pressure to come with all that?
Yeah, it does, but it makes me play better, I think. Just knowing that someone's always watching me and just always having to play good, I think it makes me play better.
From a team's perspective, how much different is it being the hunted versus the hunter? That everybody trying to take that championship that y'all got from y'all?
It's really different. Last year we lost 6 players, 6 starting players, and a lot of our players now were on JV, and I don't think they're used to it yet, having a target on their back. But when we lost to Prosper, I really think that they had an eye-opening, seeing that we do have a target on our back, and we have an expectation to live up to.
What's your ultimate goal to accomplish here in the next 2.5 years? Since you already accomplished so much, you done what some people do in a career already in a year and a half. So, how do you keep yourself motivated, and what's your ultimate goals?
Just to have fun, while playing high school. It just to win state and just to have a good time.
So we'll be safe to say that regardless of this year or next year, before you graduate, you want another state title.
Oh yeah, every year. So I can have rings all in my hands.
Give some insight to playing for your mom. Is that hard, or like for instance, y'all have a bad game or bad practice? How do y'all separate mom and daughter and star player and coach?
It is kind of hard. She gets on to me a lot, but I just gotta see her as a coach, not as my mom. And then when I get home, I see her as my mom. But on the field, I see her as a coach. And sometimes it's hard, but it's really cool to have your mom by your side, winning state and stuff. It's cool.
So when you look to your right, what do you it's like my right, your left, as you see right there over your shoulder. What do you think about that?
It's cool. It's you're talking about this?
Yeah, we're talking about those rings. You see the little carbon copy on the bottom.
Oh, it's awesome. It's so cool to look at, to go to school and just see, what we accomplished. At that moment, it was, so surreal. And then, now, it's all sunk in and, it's so awesome.
Does it feel good to be knowing that regardless if you win another state title now, that your legacy is pretty cemented here as one of those people that brought a state title to the colony?
It's cool, but I just want to, keep it going. Not just, a one-time thing, that wasn't just luck. I wanted to make it seem like we were great and, we can, keep doing this.
I just feel from on the competitive standpoint, when people see Jayda Coleman, they oh, there she go, and you have other teams gunning for you or trying to get you out and go put extra attention, or when you on base trying to make sure, well, she ain't stealing on us, or she ain't gonna do what she do to everybody else. How does that make you better? You have to kind of play games within the games to get better.
Yeah, I do. It's kind of weird to hear parents they'll go at me sometimes, but I think it makes me play better. Just when I'm competitive and it makes another team competitive, it just makes the game more fun and just makes it more exciting.
You got any words of advice for those parents out there in the future?
No.
This your platform.
No. They motivate me. They make me play better, and it just makes it more exciting when they're all yelling and everything, so it's all good.
Give some insight the fact that besides being a star softball player, you got newcomer year in volleyball and you run track. So how do you have time for all this, and just give some insight to the other sports that you compete in, at a high level?
I actually really like volleyball. Just all my friends and just meeting new people is just awesome. They're just totally different from softball. Volleyball and softball are completely different, and I just think it's a good break and working new muscles, and it's fun. Would
you ever try to do two things, or straight softball once you get to Oklahoma?
I think I'm just going to do just softball. I don't think I'm good enough to play OU volleyball, but that would be a dream come true to play 2 sports.
And what makes you commit to OU? Because very rare people commit before they even play a single game on varsity.
Yeah.
But some people are special, and you definitely fit that criteria. So what makes you decide that early, that's the school to go to, and for you to be comfortable with them and them to be comfortable with you? And say if you get hurt, that they're going to be loyal to you.
Yeah. Just knowing Patty, she's amazing, and just the whole coaching staff are just very reliable, and they're just a family. They had open arms to me coming in, and I just remember going on the softball field and staying in the shortstop position and being wow, I could see myself playing here. Even if I didn't play softball, I just absolutely love this place, and they just made it feel like home.
With all the stuff that you accomplished on the field, how hard is it off the field with your mom with the cancer, and see how everybody surrounded, kind of rallied around that, and it's been a positive for the community? Because being the colony resident, I've heard about her story and the fact that she's getting better and stuff.
Yeah. It was awesome. When it came out that she had breast cancer, there were so many supporters. We came home with huge baskets of just gifts and just blankets and snacks, and the school was behind us all the way, and I really think that gave us fire to win state. We felt we have to win for our coach, and it was just really good that everyone came together and it felt good, like, to win it for her.
Am I going to update? Is she doing pretty good these days?
She's good. I think both of her breasts are clear and that she's all good.
And just from a human standpoint, as I feel the fact that your mom's gonna be able to see you grow and mature into the star that you're kind of morphing into, and be there for you.
It feels great. Like, I was actually really worried and I was really down, but having softball teammates and volleyball teammates and track teammates to be by my side made me feel like it was going to be no problem. Like, she's a great fighter and, like, she was going to get through this, but I really was scared. But now I feel way relieved that everything's done and she'll be by my side through it all.
How much pride do you have to have the colony on your show?
It's awesome, especially when I have my ring on and my medal. It feels amazing.
And I heard your sister is a coach. Did y'all have to play them last year?
Yes, we did. We played them in the 3rd round of playoffs last year. I'm pretty sure it was the bottom of the 7th with 2 outs, and I was the runner on first, and then Coco hit like a shot to the fence, and I scored the winning run.
Oh, so was how weird was that? Like, coach, you on a cloud 9 and you see your sister.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure if you wasn't playing, you'd been cheering for her to win.
Oh yeah, definitely. I bet it was hard for my mom having like 2 daughters on separate teams, and she probably didn't know who to go for. She wanted her team to be successful, but she also wanted Ashley to be successful because that was like her first head coaching job. But it's all good. We won, so I'm glad. And
give some insight to your track prowess. I know you got the regionals last year. How big a deal would it be just to get to Austin just to compete?
It would be like amazing. I've been working every Wednesday with Coach Gregory. He's a great coach, and he's just trying to get me to that point, just like trying to stretch out my strides and doing everything he can with the time I have during softball season to get me to that stage. And I think maybe we can get there, hopefully.
And wouldn't that kind of overlap softball though?
Yeah, it would. So I only practice on Wednesdays, but the track meets are on Thursdays. But we play on Tuesdays and Fridays, so hopefully it'd only go on Thursdays.
So what would you do for state if you got to make the state? Because I know that y'all could play series, but it'd be kind of be weird, right? Because state is Friday.
Yeah.
You have a plan? Do you have a plan? Have y'all talked about it?
No, I don't have a plan. We have never talked about it. I guess we'll figure it out when I get there. I mean, I made it to regionals last year and everything was okay, but I get there, I guess we'll talk it out. But softball comes first, so.
How does it feel the fact you have like people like Coach Rangel and the principals here, just the whole community behind you? It's kind of like they almost, I'm not exaggerating, you kind of get talked about the same way Darren Williams does, and he's a former NBA player. Is that pretty cool?
It's amazing. They all have known me since I was probably like 3, because my mom's worked here for like maybe 16 years. And it's just cool to have them by my side. They're like great leaders, and like they're always there for us. Coach Rangel always checks in on us just to make sure like we have water and like we're okay. And it's really good to have them by our side.
Give some insight to being not only just playing on a high level, but to be a left-handed shortstop. Like that's uncommon in the major leagues, let's know, softball.
Yeah.
So when people actually see you play, are they like freaked out? Like, wow, she's doing this. She's left-handed playing short.
I mean, I guess, but I don't know. I don't even think sometimes people don't notice that I'm left-handed, but I don't know. I don't know what they think.
What the OU coaches tell you? I'm pretty sure they knew right away.
Yeah. I think Patty's very straightforward. Like, if I make the plays, that she'll play me. But if I don't make the plays, then I'm going to have to find somewhere else to play. But I'm fine with that as long as we win. I just want to win in all stages. I want to win at the high school level, the college level, the USA level. I just want to win at all the levels. So.
Are you? Is it true that you're like in the runners to be on the junior national team? I've done my research.
Well, I was supposed to go, but I didn't end up going. But I probably would go next year. I don't know.
Do you think that's a big honor? Do you feel pressure to play in that, or just kind of like you need a break since you play basically year round? You're playing 8 sports. Do you just need time for your body to heal?
Yeah, I really think I just need to slow down a little bit. Like everything was going really fast, like just committing and then like going to HNU Glory and then like winning state. Everything was going like really fast, and I just thought like it was just slow down. I have next year, and then I'll have time to train and like think about what I'm getting into.
As talented you are, what can you improve upon on the softball field?
Sir?
What can you improve upon? What are you going to add to your game before you graduate? What you saying?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just gonna hopefully get my batting average up. Just keep going up like to the farthest as it can be, and just keep working on defense. Because I know it is pretty hard being a left-handed shortstop, and as I get higher in the game, I hope that I get quicker with the game, and I'm able to throw them all out.
And my final question is, with everything you've already accomplished and all the pressure and everything, how is it to be Jayda Coleman, 16-year-old star sophomore, the Colony Lady Cougar?
It's amazing. I'm so happy to be a part of this high school and just everyone behind us, and it's just great. Loving life.
Got any messages for anybody, fans or haters?
I love everyone. Love the haters. Love the fans. Y'all keep repping. Keep coming to softball games. We just need as much people as we can just to make the softball world bigger.
That's it for this week's Fast Forward and Rewind Spotlight. This week's guest, Jayda Coleman, holding it down with Kendrick Johnson. Back to y'all, guys.
And big thanks to Jayda and Kendrick for that segment right there. So we're going to round things out as we did last Thursday.
Boomer Sooner, Matt.
That's right. We're gonna talk a little bit about just kind of what we have on our coverage docket for tomorrow night, as well as any other news and notes that have come down the pipe for within our markets. With obviously we've spent this podcast talking about softball, but the soccer playoffs are still top of mind for us from a coverage standpoint. We are now into the second round of the high school soccer playoffs, and that is where all three of us are going to be out and about on tomorrow night. I'll start. I'll be out and actually going to make a drive out to Corsicana to cover Allen against Belton. The Allen girls soccer team was able to survive what sounded like an absolute thriller in the first round against Hebron, a game that went to PKs, and I was able to squeak out a win in penalty kicks in a game that certainly has looked a little bit tougher than any game that they've had in quite some time. So Allen able to withstand its first true test of the season so far. So see how the Lady Eagles do against Belton. If they win, and then South Lake Carroll's able to take care of business in their second round game, then we'll get that highly anticipated South Lake Allen matchup in the third round. I guess as far as any other news and notes for those who are fans of football recruiting, there was some pretty big news that dropped on Twitter yesterday. In the Allen area, Theo Wease, Allen's star wide receiver, he's ranked as the #1 prospect in the state for 2019 by Rivals, top 3 nationally by the same site. He has narrowed his list down to 5 schools. It's always a cool moment whenever one of these high-profile recruits is able to trim down that list to either a top 10 or a top 5. And for Theo Wease, it is down to Texas A&M, OU, Alabama, USC, and LSU.
What a problem to have, a decision between those schools.
He's, some outlets have him as the top, said he's the top player in the country according to Rivals, and, no matter where you check, he's among the top receivers that there is for the class of 2019. Yeah, you could pretty much name his school, and he's narrowed it down to 5 very, very strong programs. So there's that, and then also this week, and you guys can attest to this since you guys will be out and about covering this stuff. This is a week where a lot of these solo sports really do pick up. This is the start of the postseasons for track, golf, tennis. So it's going to be a very, very busy week for all three of us. JT, what is your coverage docket looking like tomorrow?
Tomorrow I'm going to be out at Dallas Jesuit for a girls soccer game between Coppell and Mesquite Horn. So the little area around contest there, I'll be checking that out. Friday we're going to have to kind of see who advances and what's going on, but I will be out in Denton checking out a little golf and stuff this week too.
All right. And how about you, Taylor?
I will also be covering golf both Tuesday and Friday, I believe. 6-6A boys and girls both play this week, unlike some districts where it's split up. So they're both in action this week. I'll be out, especially for the last days of those, checking in on things and bringing that. But tomorrow I will be out at McKinney High School. An important note, Lovejoy and Lake Dallas boys soccer has been moved to McKinney High School due to a scheduling conflict that we may or may not have brought to light. The Prosper girls and Wiley East girls were set to play at Ron Poe at 7, and then Lovejoy and Lake Dallas were set for 7:30, so that would have been world's fastest soccer game. But no, they will be at McKinney.
2 games at once?
Yeah, right. Just cut the field in half.
They each take up 1 through 50, and
they will be at McKinney High School now. So I'll be out there for that one.
Outside of the box. Start the possession.
Yeah. So that should be an interesting one. Lovejoy, obviously, kind of a soccer power in the region, and I think was semifinalists?
Regional semifinals last year.
Semifinals last year, and then Lake Dallas, basically the opposite.
Congratulations to Lake Dallas.
Yes, first ever playoff
Congratulations.
victory. Hadn't made the playoffs since 2011, 2012. Yeah. Got in and took down down Frisco Lone Star last week for their first ever playoff victory in program history. So a little bit of a matchup of, I don't want to call it David and Goliath because you never know, but certainly a team that's been there and a team that's still forging their first road through the playoffs. But should be an interesting one at McKinney. And then obviously just watching baseball and softball. It may be a week where we don't get out to a lot of games, but definitely paying attention, especially at 6-6A, because some crazy races that should only get either tighter or more separated this week. It's a big week, big next 2 weeks. So
then, yeah, that's it for all that good stuff. You guys can follow us along on Twitter, where we'll be, posting updates from the stuff that we're at live. JT, where can folks follow you on Twitter?
At JThomasSCN.
Taylor?
I am at Taylor Raglin. Raglin is my last name, just all one word. So,
and you can follow me along at MWelchSLM. And obviously, once our games are done, the first spot you can check out our stories as well as rapid reaction podcasts, video highlights, what have you, is at starlocalsports.com. Otherwise, folks, JT, Taylor, appreciate y'all for tagging along, and yeah, that'll just about do it with this latest edition of the Star Local Media Sports Podcast. Thanks again to our sponsors, Star Local Media, 14 newspapers and websites with a print distribution of 270,000 homes and monthly page views of 600,000 online. Star Local Media, your community voice for news.